6 series so far today have knocked it out of the park for the Intel Extreme Masters day number 5, and we have 2 more to go. It's going to be 2 TVZs, and our first one is very special indeed. Our Intel Extreme Masters, or World Champion from 2017, goes up against the WCS Global Champion for 2017. Joining me to my right-hand side, we do have Pig, we have Rotterdam. Boys, World Champion versus World Champion. It couldn't get better than this, Pig.
It's so sick, man. And these guys are just such unique players as well because they didn't, win that much back in the earlier days. They've had a climb where they were very good, consistent players for many years, and they rose into their own. And for me, as someone who nerds out over these weird late-game scenarios, you've got the best Zerg late-game player and the best Terran late-game player. And when they face off, you know fireworks are going to happen.
Yeah, the 2 guys that won the biggest tournaments in 2017. I think 2017 was the year of 3 players. Innovation won almost everything inside of Korea.
Yes.
TY won the tournaments with the biggest prize pool. And Rogue won the global finals, which also has a massive prize pool. It doesn't get much better than that. And historically, it's always so close between these 2. They're 8-8 in series, and obviously 2017 was their year, just like Pig said. They've always been good, but in 2017, they took their game to a whole new level. The funny thing is that TY was up back then in the semifinals when they met at the global finals as well. TY was up 2-0. Rogue turned it around 1-3-2, eventually won the tournament. And since that day, they've played 2 more times, and both times TY won 2-0 and 2-0 again. So technically, he's always up 2-0, but can he close it out in the best of 5, James? That's the question.
It is a good question, and I don't want to wait any longer for this because we are ready to go to our next round of 8 match. It's World Champion going up against World Champion.
Gentlemen, there is a 3rd race in this game, and it is about to hit the stage here with TY versus Rogue, a rematch of the semifinals of BlizzCon 2017, where it went all the way to Game 5, and I got my fingers and toes crossed, Artosis, that it happens again.
Maynard, let's have real talk for a moment here.
Okay.
The IEM Katowice 2018 is in the running for the best tournament of all time as far as game quality goes, for certain. No one can argue that. Today alone, okay, Rogue Hurricane was one-sided. I mean, great showing for Hurricane to get this far, but Rogue just destroyed him. Other than that, all the series have been madness. They've been so good, they've been so close. This one might become the best one. This is the smartest, best late-game player of Terran vs. Zerg in the world, TY, going up against Rogue, known far and wide, undisputed, world champion of the late game of Zerg. Like, this is such a crazy match.
It certainly is, and I think we're going to be seeing multiple styles as well from both players. Of course, Bio is starting to find his way back in the meta, but TY is such a mech god. I wouldn't be surprised at all to see him use those old tools that he has in his Terran utility belt.
Oh, man. Well, he can use absolutely everything. TY will use everything from, the Marine, He'll literally use every unit. Okay, I'm not going to name every unit. I was going to.
You can,
I
but
decided not to.
Yeah.
But he can and will use every unit in a TVZ. I have seen it. He will do it again. He does tech switches. He can open mech and go into 3-3 ghosts with Liberators if he wants. I mean, he's a master, but Rogue knows how to deal with absolutely every situation. An impossible match to predict.
He is a master, and he had to slay this Terran Titan to face Sue in the biggest tournament of 2017. But in the top right, from Jeanette Green Wings, the world champion, this is Rogue! And in the bottom left from Splice, the Intel Extreme Masters 2017 World Champion. Give it up for TY! TY champion again?
I concur.
Question mark?
Exclamation point more like.
That's right. All right, well, early stages of what promises to be a pretty sick series. My favorite matchup in the game. It's no secret, all you guys that have seen me cast TVZ time and time again, every opportunity I'll tell you how much I love this matchup, and it is because so many viable strategies are allowed. The action is always intense. It requires so much mechanical ability from the Terran and Zerg side.
Yeah.
Especially when you're up against an opponent of this high caliber.
And I tell you what, I'm so excited for this game right now. I almost want to do an impression of you analyzing a replay and just go ham.
Don't do
the
that.
Overlords are
No.
scouting!
Don't
Whoa!
do that. Don't do that, because it'll make the game go faster. And I want to realize this isn't a fine spirit that you shoot down.
No.
You sip this. All right?
You're quite right about that.
You appreciate the bouquet
We are-
of TY versus Rogue.
We're not mixing this game with Coca-Cola.
If you do that, I will hit you in the mouth.
Yes.
All right?
Well deserved as well. I hope I
Absolutely.
spit it out at that point. Dude, I am hoping for 5 games here so much.
I think we all are.
And I'm hoping that multiple of these games go to 30 minutes. Like, I want to see crazy mined-out bases. I want to see the armor missile over and over again. I want to see Vipers pulling in crazy units. Oh, my God.
We're getting so worked up, and there's 4 Lings about to come out. It's like
Dude.
nothing has happened
Whoa!
yet.
Look at that. 2 Lings, 2 drones, 2 queens. It's crazy.
And it's going to be a reactor opening here for TY. So pretty regular opening. Reaper scout into expansion, going into reacted Hellions. So we're going to be seeing TY go for map control, possibly even drone damage here with the Hellions, but also the Hellions obviously giving him a bit of a safety blanket against the possibility of a good number of Lings.
Yeah, he's going to be going for a starport as well. He's already gotten that second gas, so the 3rd command center will be delayed just a little bit here while he tries to get some of that harassment damage done, but look at Rogue. Oh, Rogue, I love this type of Zerg versus Terran play, getting very quick Overlord speed. This is going to allow him to see exactly what TY is up to. Of course, that's not the cheapest upgrade this early in the game, but it's worth it if you can save yourself a lot of damage.
Certainly is, and Rogue's still mining gas as well. It looks like he might have pulled a couple drones out. Maybe he's got full saturation still, but it's pretty interesting to see how potentially far he might shoot up this tech tree as he goes for all that gas into Ling speed and also Neurotized Carapace for Overlord speed. The Overlord speed obviously means he's going to have a lot of scouting information, which is important because he wants to know what kind of style I'm up against versus TY. If he makes the wrong tools, TY will punish him.
Oh, you have to have the right unit composition against TY at all times. There's no question there. Now, TY is actually getting stim very, very quickly here. And is actually just getting a Viking to push around some Overlords. But, with the speed, you won't get as many Overlords as you would normally get. Meanwhile, Rogue a little bit later on that 3rd base, but that was to get the Overlord speed, to see what TY is doing.
Rogue's still mining a good chunk of gas here as he goes towards that 3rd base. Looks like another Overlord going to be able to find an opening, get away from that Viking. He's in a nice spot, be able to sack himself through the main base and get a good look at what TY is teching towards. If he's dropping extra barracks, if he's dropping a 3rd command center, that's all information that Rogue would love to have at this point in the game. We can see that TY, without an add-on here, is going for a Liberator. And Rogue's like, okay, this isn't going to be a second Viking. No one does that. This is a medevac or it's a Liberator.
Yeah.
So now Rogue can put the pieces together and defend back at home.
Certainly he can. Of course, TY on top of that little peek in by the Overlord will chase it down with his singular Viking. The Reaper's still kind of going around the map, getting that additional scouting done. And double evolution chamber here on the way for Rogue. So we're going to want to see a double engineering bay coming up relatively soon from TY.
Yeah, so he is going into bioplay. We've confirmed that with a stim. Getting that Reaper catch there is quite nice for Rogue. And there is a Hellion run by attempt here from TY, but a nice body block there with the Queens, making the Hellions take a bit of extra damage there as they were on move command.
All right, they're going to go ahead and run away. Already pretty decent creep spread, and with those Queens, he's going to have to stay there and kind of watch for the Hellions, but that is why the Liberator can't come in, because the Queens are guarding against those Hellions he showed. Getting 2 drones, not bad. Every little bit that these two can do to each other will slow them down.
This Overlord damage is quite nice for TY as well. It looks like he's gotten a couple already. This is a beautiful spot for this Liberator. He needs the Queens down here, and they're going to take damage to come in. It looks like there is a transfusion on the one at the front, and it's going to go down.
Oh, a little bit sloppy right there, but he had to deal with it. Lings going after these Hellions. Some of them getting surrounded there for a moment. He does push the Lings back, but so far so good on this drone harassment. He's killed 7 drones with that Liberator.
That's right, and this Viking's killed 3 Overlords as well, Artosis. So that's 300 minerals and 3 lava that Rogue's putting in Overlords that he doesn't necessarily want to do just yet. Rogue making a lot of Lings right now with 1-1, and he's also getting Baneling speed. So Rogue is the type of player that utilizes Ling, Bane, Hydra so very well to transition into Ultralisks in the Ultra late game. But he needs to get up to there, and TY has been known for his multitasking, and when drops start to hit the field, I think that Rogue is going to have to start to spend resources to defend as well.
You know, this is interesting, though. We don't see a Hydralisk Den out yet.
Not yet.
A good amount of Lings, a good amount of Banelings being made. Also, that 4th base going up. He's spreading his creep. It seems like a defensive play to me, even though there's a decent amount. A little bit later on that Hydralisk Den.
Yeah, just dropping it now, and also macro hatcheries and the 4th base here from Rogue. The 4th base from Rogue is also a little aggressively placed as well, heading towards TY rather than going around the edge of the map. But it is going to allow him, of course, a little bit of a boost in his creep spread, which is very important for Zerg, obviously. TY going for a push here with a couple tanks and a bunch of Marines. They, I don't think they're going to hit with 1-1, but they have Stim. So this timing attack could be maybe a little bit stronger if TY waited a couple seconds, but he really wants to try and hurt Rogue here.
I'm a little bit nervous for him, to be honest. Rogue is just about to have 1-1. He's just about to have Baneling speed. And with this creep spread here as well, I can't imagine TY getting too much done. Oh, he knocks down the rocks. He's actually going to siege up and drop into the main base, try to gain some value here. A cool move.
Indeed, Rogue could potentially take a lot of damage here. The tanks on the low ground, but they are getting flanked by Rogue. The Lings are getting them from the low, and it looks like the Marines getting cleaned up in the main, forced down to defend the tanks. Looks like one of the tanks may have survived, actually. So this is very annoying for Rogue, because now TY can drop in the main again. Yeah,
that is annoying. You really need to kill off both those siege tanks so that this attack doesn't work anymore. Always pulling back into that siege tank range.
Oh!
Ooh!
Oh, I was so worried just then for TY. Started stepping now on the edge of the creek, controlling his Marines a little bit better. Bunch of Lings just hatch here for Rogue. And TY is actually still pressuring the spot here with very little investment.
Yeah, he's getting actually a great value out of all this. In the meantime, another medevac dropping at the 3rd base. What is down here to defend? Rogue is so busy with the push into his main, but really very nice containment there by Rogue to just clean up this drop.
Certainly, and I actually love that Rogue is dropping a Spore Crawler here on the edge. Hold that thought, we got TY doing some more damage here, gets that Queen. Looks like maybe a Hydralisk or 2, but it really doesn't want to lose that medevac. The Liberator returns and is coming in for more damage. Not target firing the drones though, a little bit of a mistake from TY. I mean, getting kills is nice, but he really wanted drone kills.
Still, he gets 3, 4, 5.
Right, that's actually turning into a really nice Liberator here for
Not
TY.
bad. A 9-kill Liberator. I'm not going to complain about that one. I don't think TY will either, especially since he gets away. Now a drop up into the main base. TY's multitasking pretty out of control here.
I mentioned it when the medevac started to get produced here. His multitasking is incredible, and he's going straight into the main mineral line. TY continually doing more and more economic damage to Rogue. In fact, TY with a worker lead right now, which is almost unheard of against a Zerg as good as Rogue.
Well, you know what? This is TY. He makes more SCVs than anyone else on Earth. I'm not exaggerating. Known for having gigantic economies. Look at this, multitasking the macro behind. He's got barracks absolutely everywhere. Walls set up. The 4th command center lands. TY setting himself up beautifully for a long macro game.
He could not look more solid. There isn't a mineral in the world that is more solid than TY. He is actually just playing a very, very beautiful game here. Very few mistakes. I gotta say though, Rogue with these upgrades could use the window that he has to put a big fight onto TY, but his 2-2 isn't very far behind. It's just that there's a little bit of a window at the moment for Rogue.
Yeah, he'll certainly be there pretty soon. Now TY starting to push out. We see his first player view here, moving out with a lot of siege tanks, starting to remove some of this creep. He does not want to overcommit on creep.
You can see in the minimap here that Rogue is trying to break through these rocks, but TY, with that wall in, a few units left behind, splits here on the creep to deal with the banelings from Rogue here. Medevac's going into the main as well from TY, and he is just playing Starcraft all over Eastwatch right now.
Oh my god, this is craziness by TY, queuing up so many drops, getting down the scan, getting rid of creep timbers, blocking those rocks, blocking at his 4th base,
oh my god,
and setting up at the 5th of Rogue, stopping everything dead in its tracks.
You guys think your esports is the hardest in the world? Just have a look at this first-person cam here from TY, and Rogue as well. So good here with these attacks. The Hydras and the Banes are very, very scary for TY. Doesn't want to get too far on this creep here. The Lynx did break through the rocks, and that's something TY has to worry about for the rest of the game now.
It certainly is. He might end up making a wall up there at some point, but I don't see how he's going to have time with how much multitasking he's doing up front. But look at the positioning of these tanks, putting them behind the wall. It's so hard for these ground-based units to loop around to hit these siege tanks, and TY with the constant scans to see what's going on.
Yeah, and he's even leaving some Marines here on those tanks just in case the Lynx try and go for a surround. The reinforcements, in fact, going to be able to fight anything from Rogue that comes around the outside. But speaking around the outside, Rogue has a ton of units in the top left of the map here. Looking like he wants to wait for TY, is not paying attention to go for a big run by, picking up a Viper. Ooh. Massive pick off there for TY. Very unlucky for Rogue.
Yeah, really, really well done. Another Ling run in there at the 3rd base. But right now, TY microing heavily against this Ling Bane Hydra.
Oh,
very well done.
That's a lot of Banelings, the SCVs. Ooh. Oh, a lot of them are going to go down here. Just 8 so far. The Banelings are still alive. They're going for a juicier target, but that's giving the tanks a lot of chance to take them down.
Oh, but they're still rolling into that mineral line. TY actually losing quite a few SCVs. 25 going down. Still has 57, though, so still a solid economy.
I think the big story here is the army supply. TY has an army that can actually end this game. Rogue needs a window to get those ultras out and to get them out without taking too much econ damage. Otherwise, he's not going to have enough to finish TY off here. TY is the king of Liberators, and he's not too shabby with ghosts ever. So I think that the Ultra Tech is something that Rogue's going to want a nice advantage going into.
All right, well, he's trying his best to get in this Ultra Tech. He does have those Vipers with high energy, throwing down Parasitic Bomb, but a nice split immediately here by TY. Doesn't want to let his Medevacs all die. Look at this, though. TY is about to have 3-3. Some great spreading. Baneling's rolling in there for a moment. TY not quite microing perfectly, but he's gonna get this 4th base.
And Rogue even helping him out with that hatchery a little bit there as well, with the Vipers consuming energy off them. And this is what I'm talking about. If you're down in bases against a Terran and you're trying to make Ultralisks, enough Ultras to finish a 3-3 Terran army, that is tough. Yeah. TY is double the army supply of Rogue right now and defending across the map while continuing his push.
TY's play this game is outstanding, even by his standards. It's a crazy thing to behold. Now look at this, he's rotating up. That gold base was taken by Rogue. If he can kill that, Rogue's chances in this game are almost nil.
Almost. It's looking a little dire, but Rogue's still in this game. He has an army that can trade well, but he's going to need some sick blinding clouds, and he's going to need to reset this tank counter TY. A nice Baneling connection would certainly help as well, but he doesn't even have enough. He can't even be bothered here. GG, TY playing incredibly good in game number 1. He made that look very one-sided, actually, up to the mid-game.
Dude, that's an understatement. That is maybe the most solid, strong early game I've ever seen out of TY. His multitasking was unrivaled. Like, he's setting up so many drops, defenses, and pushes all at once, microing them all perfectly while not missing a beat in his macro. We saw with that first player view, it's just crazy how much he's juggling, and Rogue really had a hard time that game. He took a lot of damage early on.
He certainly did. And that's the kind of thing that's going to be able to give anyone, TY and whatever future opponent gets to face Rogue, that is the way to slow this kid down. If Rogue doesn't take damage to his economy, if he hits the late game comfortably the way he wants to hit it, he will not lose. He is just too good in the late game when he has that economy to back it up and that production to back it up. TY is great in the late game, but he knows that to be comfortable against Rogue, got to continue to multitask and just shave off those drones. 5 here, 6 there, damage a hatchery, force engagements, force units, all that kind of damage that Terrans like to do.
Okay, game number 2 is about to start. TY dominating the first game. But on our new map, Neon Violet Square, I think it's going to be a lot closer.
I tend to agree. In the top left, winning game 1 on Eastwatch, this is Splice's TY! And in the bottom right from Jin Green Wings, this is Rogue! A lot of fans for both players in the crowd, and no surprises there. One of them is the world champion of WCS, the other one, the champion of the Intel Extreme Masters. And right next to Valerian, that handsome devil, he is going to see a proxy barracks, but it looks to be more than just one.
Well, I think he's... This is cool to see from TY. This is why this guy is a multiple tournament champion. To mix in something like this after such a brilliant game, but
man.
This is why Rogue is a multiple tournament champion. He scouts things like this.
Oh man, I wish you guys at home could see Artosis in the last half of that conversation. He's breakdancing up here in the casters area with how excited he is over how good Rogue is and how good TY is. And Rogue sees the proxy, but also does not give his hand away to TY. He's like, yeah, continue. No, I haven't seen this.
No problem.
I promise you. No, I don't know this is coming at all.
Let's do this.
Yeah, all right. So, of course, Rogue going hatchery before, pool before hatchery here to make sure that he has the units to be able to deal with this. The strength of this map is that there's actually a very small choke point between the natural and sort of that third base where Zergs generally want to take it. And that's where they like to bunker push. But they always expect the Zergs to expand forward, whereas Rogue takes the safer pocket natural.
Wow, this is really going to catch TY off guard a little bit. Look, see, he's looking in, there's no hatchery.
He's like,
what's going on, TY wondered to himself.
Yeah, he's being spotted. That's what it means. And he's going to have to try and make it work. This is a pretty big commitment from TY. Not necessarily all in, but it's certainly, if it gets deflected, it is going to sting, and it's going to make his mid-game a lot weaker.
I tell you what, the fact that he just saw 2 gases, if I'm TY, I'm thinking this could be an all-in right now. What is going on? But he brings his Marines up the ramp, going after that Overlord. Only
That's
a
a supply
few
block if he kills that.
Yeah, that would be a huge supply block so early in the game. The drone's coming out. Rogue does not want to lose this Overlord.
Absolutely not. And TY started stepping a little bit deep on the creep here, but controlling it very, very well. More and more Marines coming in from these 2 barracks. Even the SCV coming in as a bit of a line blocker, targeting down these hurt units. TY still putting on a lot of pressure on Rogue, surprisingly enough, even though Rogue caught this.
Yeah, that was some very swift micro there by TY. He backs up for the time being. Think he's going to maybe go home with this? Or is he, maybe he wants to check the gold base, something like that,
yeah,
but...
He's still producing units, so it doesn't look like he's going home just yet. Oh no, he actually maybe, he's rallying his units back at home. So TY looking like he's going to just transition here. He takes the pocket natural. He's checking the pocket natural for a hatchery. That's what he's trying to do there. That is something that Rogue's done before, just be a little bit aggressive, a little bit cheesy. And hiding this base here, TY probably thinks Rogue's still on 1 base for now.
Ooh, look at this. The Ling's actually running by the bunker. They want to go and see if they can put on a little bit of harassment. But with 2 Marines going home, a siege tank about to pop out, they're not going to get any damage done over here. The 2 barracks get lifted off. They are going to go home and start producing for TY. And it looks like it's time to break this bunker.
Yeah, the Lings are going first round here. The bunker is quite nice with 4 Marines in it, but not good enough. The Lings with speed here from Rogue do clean that up. Gives Rogue breathing room here. This Overlord getting deflected from TY as he takes that CC right next to the ramp here. He was set up in a way that looked like he was trying to counter a roach attack, but as we know, there isn't one on the way here. TY just trying to be very, very safe. He cancels that bunker, doesn't need it anymore.
Starport going to go down as well. TY giving himself all the tools he needs to fight back into this. Of course, Rogue, I definitely like his position more, right? He already has his expansion up. He didn't lose too many drones to that initial push, and most certainly he has map control right now with these speed Zerglings.
Absolutely. sending them out on the map here to see what is up. Is there anything coming at me? TY is just bringing those barracks back home to continue bioproduction here as he gets that tank count up as well, making a starport and his natural. He's double expanding actually, so he's going to try and come back into this game economically by moving 2 CCs out around the same time. It's a little risky when you do this, especially a player as good as Rogue. If Rogue reads this, he can definitely punish.
All right, well, I love the fact that a Viking's coming out because this is how he's going to prevent Rogue from reading it, right? If you fly around, kill these overlords, it's going to be pretty difficult. Now, the SCV actually sneaks around the entire map, goes on a 3-year journey, and finds what actually happened. He now has all the information of what Rogue was up to. There's not a hidden base. There's just a base in the back there. So he now knows that Rogue, economically speaking, is far ahead.
Yeah, definitely. And that's where the double expansion from TY is going to come in. He can certainly come back in that regard. Double orbital or even triple orbital, triple mules with saturation, and you're going to find yourself in a not all right spot there as Terran. Looks like TY switching things up here, putting the starport on a tech lab. This might be a Hellion Banshee sort of follow-up here. Or he's going to go for a Raven instead.
I wonder if he's planning on going mech here because we've seen a barracks floating in front of his natural this entire time. It doesn't seem like he's in any sort of rush to get stim. So, I mean, it definitely could be something like that. But as I say that, the barracks actually floating back. So maybe he does want to transition into a more regular bio play.
Armory coming down here for TY. And that doesn't always mean that he's not going bio. Second armory does, though. So to say the first armory could come down to give yourself the Hellbats. Yeah. And, you know, try and do damage across the map with that. But, of course, second armory does confirm that we are going to see mech from TY. And no surprises, really, when you think about it. This map in particular is a map where TY does like to mech.
And he's so good at it on this map. This game could go very long, but let's not forget that Rogue got himself kind of a nice economic advantage. Yeah, so there is a possibility that he can just kind of deny extra bases from TY, pick off units that TY is a little bit sloppy with, and maybe finish him off before we get to that maxed out supply.
And this is a very comfortable position for Rogue. Like you mentioned with the economy, he's ahead 17 workers right now, and that is a very lovely spot as a Zerg. Of course, with TY's opening, because he delayed Starport and all that sort of thing, he is not dropping and killing drones. In fact, he hasn't killed any drones in a very, very long time. These Hellions are going to try to do just that. Some of them were lining up a little bit there. And it looks like he got one, but certainly, well, 2 in the end there with a auto turret. Remember that? Auto turret harassment? It's back.
It is back. Of course, you have to take a little bit of damage to throw one down now, but it seems fair to me. The Viking continuing to clean up some of these overlords around the map. But I think Rogue has a good idea of what's going on. We see him getting roach speed. He's getting upgrades for that as well. So he's going to be pretty well prepared for future Hellion harassment.
TY is being so greedy, Artos, as he double expanded, and he's taking a 4th right now. That is very risky for TY. Rogue's making made a chunk of roaches as well, which is a very strong army in the early stages for mech, because the unit you need against that is, you know, Hellbat and some tanks. Well, basically, the Hellbats keep the roaches away from the tanks so that the tanks can get the job done. Hellions really suck against roaches.
Yeah. Well, unless it's like 8 versus 1, then they don't really care about it that much. But nice little poke there to get rid of some of the creep tumors. TY staying active on the map. Another Overlord going to be going out.
I'm actually frustrated. As much as I love TY, I'm frustrated that these Vikings get so many Overlord kills. I don't know how this happens. I don't get it. I never get this many Overlords with my Viking.
No, it's pretty crazy. But, you know, you look at Rogue, he continues to try to spread out, tries to see what's coming in. He wants to know if you're going to do, like, let's say a Hellion run by into his 3rd base. And then those units get caught and he gets in trouble. So definitely not going well there. He does have Overlord speed now, so I don't expect him to make you feel too much worse, Maynard. I don't think we're going to see a lot more Overlords die.
Nah, that's right here. We see that Rogue is switching tech as well. He's identified mech once he saw that floating barracks. If he didn't already know, he knows now. So he's already got Hive, a Hydra Den, and a Spire on the way here, because that is a lot more effective against mech than roaches.
But the siege tank push is already coming. It's really surprising for me to see that TY has 1-1 and equal army supply, but really Rogue has been pumping out so many workers. He's up to 84 drones, and he can turn on the macro at a moment's notice.
Absolutely, and this is something that you don't see every mech player do. Hellbat dunks here on the drone line. TY did this in earlier in this tournament, actually, against a Zerg opponent, and this is a nice run by here, getting a couple drones, denying a bunch of mining time. This Hellbat still being annoying, more mining time being denied here by Rogue. TY doing a nice little bit of harassment here, and you're right. The upgrades are pretty fantastic for TY. 2-2 on the way around the same time as Rogue. But Rogue is going for Broodlords, and that is a tricky bit of tech for TY to deal with.
Yeah, you're really right about that. But the thing is that TY, positionally, tactically, strategically, best Terran player out there. And like we just saw that, for instance, right? He moves up his entire army. I'm like, what is he supposed to push now? But that forces Rogue to make some units, to bring his units to the front. Bam, the Hellbat drop goes off. TY goes home. So, I mean, you see the way that he can reposition his army, try to force you out of position, and that's definitely something you have to utilize against Broodlords.
Is TY just making a command center every 20 seconds or something? I feel like he's just trying to spread out of control on this map like a Zerg player. And Rogue's actually spreading out of control. This creep spread from Rogue is very, very nice. He's got a lot of active creep tumors here. That's the name of the game here when you're Zerging against mech. Get as much creep tumors as possible, have as much reaction time against the mech push of Terran as possible.
Well, right now, his Greater Spire is about to finish. We do have some Vikings out. Of course, there is that Raven as well, so the anti-armor missile is definitely something that we will see utilized against it. Both sides with just massive economies, and, well, it looks like it's time for some ghosts.
That's right.
Who you gonna call, Maynard?
Well,
TY.
Hopefully Rogue has all the technology needed to deal with Ghost, because it's going to get spooky, Artosis. Ghost mech here, spooky mech from TY, something that Special loves to do against Zerg as well. Both players incredibly similar in play style. And Ghosts are just wonderful when married up with mech. Not only does it unlock the ability to nuke, which is very stylish and cool and sometimes very effective, they also have snipes and EMPs, which are fantastic against Broodlords and these Vipers, these spellcaster units.
Oh man, you see all those evolution chambers coming up. It's not because he wants more upgrades, even though he does. And if there was anything to upgrade, he would upgrade out of them. It is to get more energy for those Vipers. It's going to be incredibly important for him to utilize Abduct, to utilize Blinding Cloud, and of course Parasitic Bomb against these Vikings to win the long war. You see both sides setting up, getting lots of spellcasters, lots of top tier units.
Absolutely. Rogue nearly draining a hatchery dry there to get those Vipers all juiced up and ready for the battle. Oh man, Rogue is doing something really cool though, and you don't see a whole lot of this from Zergs against mech. He's getting Tunneling Claws and Burrow for the Roaches. Roaches, like I mentioned, aren't fantastic late game against mech. But if you can utilize the Roach supply you already have to be annoying and be in several places at once, I can see that working out very nicely for Rogue. We got a big push here from Rogue. He's pretty far off creep, though.
Yeah, that is gigantic. The Roach is actually going through this purple box maze, trying to get up on top of the siege tanks, which are not siege right now. A great Blinding Cloud going down, having to lift off these barracks. Was TY not prepared?
Oh, maybe not. The Planetary's taking a lot of damage from these Broodlings. TY starting to push back the units of Rogue. The Roaches are going down. The Hydras are still alive, though, and putting a lot of damage down. The Planetary is going to survive for now. There's the snipes there from the Ghosts on those Broodlords, but still, they survive here for Rogue. Stutter stepping back.
Wow, that Planetary tanking so much damage. A great repair from TY, holding his ground, holding his position, and forcing Rogue finally to turn around.
TY lost 9 SCVs, and he still has more workers than the Zerg, by the way.
Oh my god.
Throwing it out there.
But he doesn't have triple digit. He's got to make more SCVs.
Yeah, that's right. This must be fake TY. He doesn't have 90 workers yet. But this is a burrow tactic here from Rogue. We were just talking about it. This can be a really nice tactic with those Roaches to be able to get more effectiveness out of them. This is a very lovely spot here on the high ground as well. But he's going to go for an even juicier target deep inside TY's infrastructure.
He's going for the full value here, splitting his Roaches up into a couple bases. Can just unburrow those when the time is right, maybe during another engagement, to try to catch TY a bit off guard. But look at this, TY sending a couple units around. Look at the Hellions going to get some kills, some Siege Tanks going to the high ground above that gold base as well. While he pushes in, no doubt he's going to unburrow those Roaches at this point, and Rogue with a massive attack.
Massive attack indeed. Plenty of Hydralisk here leading the charge. He gets the Planetary and a ton of SCVs. TY does not have a whole lot of army here on the map. Some of it was across the map being annoying here for Rogue. He is doing damage, but this burrowed Roach tactic has pulled TY very, very thin here. He has to consolidate his forces and deal with his push. Otherwise, he's going to have to tap out.
A lot of Hydras mixed in here. Uh-oh! Huge huge moment right there. The High just picking off so much, and GG!
We've got ourselves a series, ladies and gentlemen. No 3-0s here. Rogue fights back on Neon Violet Square.
Crazy game so far. I am getting some nerd chills as these two are delivering. TY with a dominating game 1. I mean, he played well in game 2, but Rogue really was in control.
Damn straight. Read him like a book after that mech play. He knows TY likes to be all over the map and spread his army out, doing damage, not keeping all of his mech in a bowl. I saw the defensive position of TY at that planetary, and I thought, damn, this looks hard to break. But Rogue is a genius. He knew that he had enough, and with confidence, barreled on through, got the Liberators, which weren't very high in count, by the way, managed to break through the Ghosts before they were high in number, high in energy. He hit a perfect timing to break through TY.
Oh, this is... what a magnificent series so far. I think we can end it here and have a round of 5, to be honest. Like, these two both definitely deserving to go forward. A match that could absolutely be a finals, considering how many tournaments these two won between them last year.
I mean, TY Rogue could be a final. Maru series could be a final. There are so many potential finals here. In fact, we were having potential finals in the group stages.
I know.
It's just... I mean, the level of play here in IEM Katowice is almost beyond comprehension. That's why it's already being lauded as one of the best tournaments in Starcraft 2 history. We are going in to see which player is going to take a map advantage in this best of 5. Will it be TY or will it be Rogue? In the top left here from Splice, the Terran player. Make some noise for TY! And in the bottom right, from Jinair Greenwings with a beautiful game 2, this is Rogue! Oh, God. I wasn't ready for it. I'm so on edge.
No.
Small movements, like if anything jumps in front of me right now, I'll actually leap out of my skin. Just, I'm too focused on this game and on the screen. Rogue, oh my God. Oh my God, I think it's gonna be a proxy Roach Rush, Artosis.
Oh my God. Well, the last proxy game turned into maxed out mech against Broodlords, so I'm not complaining. Rogue gonna go ahead and mix it up right now. TY, how quickly will he scout? When will he figure out what's going on?
And what will Rogue get back at home? There's that spawning pool. I haven't seen the gases just yet. Of course, don't really need gas to get the Roach Warren, but will need him to make the Roaches in the end here for Rogue. And that is a very, very strong proxy when you go for Roach Ravager proxy. It has killed many Terrans before. Even Terrans as good as TY.
Yeah. Well, you'll see how he deals with this. He has made his wall on the high ground, which is important to mention. On this spot, you generally do that anyways, but I think that's why this hatchery is right down here. Now, the command center on low ground, I don't think that's not going to be mining anytime soon, nor is it going to be finishing anytime soon.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough one here for TY to hold. But it doesn't necessarily mean if you lose the CC that you're out of the game, of course. You can just retake it in the main. It's annoying, but keep in mind that your opponent is also putting all their eggs into the aggressive basket here. If you can hold on, a one-base Terran is much scarier than a one-base Zerg. And of course, technically the Zerg has a second base, but rarely will you see drones on it.
Well, TY right now has scouted what's going on. He saw no bases. He checks out down here. Going to go after these Zerglings right off the bat.
If he gets these Zerglings, he could actually maybe finish this command center.
Yeah, that is actually a real possibility. He's even building a bunker. So TY being very serious about trying to hold this. He will not skimp at all, I would say. Has a Marine out chasing back that Overlord as well. But the Roach Warren is finished, so there's going to be much stronger units coming.
TY is going to want either tanks or Cyclones here. And the big end game unit that he wants is probably Banshees. That's something that really punishes someone that's going for a Roach Ravager bust like this. Of course, Ravagers and Roaches, they technically shoot up, but TY is never going to lose a Banshee to a corrosive pile.
No, that is a rare thing indeed. Roaches now popping out. The command center, of course, has already finished. So that is a score right there for TY. He's going to have to eventually lift up. Look at this, double bunker. Already has SCVs down here as well. He just needs to stall this out. And if he can get that C-Chank on the high ground, it becomes very difficult to actually hit it without something spotting.
Very true. The one weakness here for TY is that his bunkers are together, so Rogue can actually consolidate all of his corrosive piles in the middle of these bunkers to damage them both, which is nice for him, but he's already broken through one of these bunkers. This tank getting a little far forward here. TY does not want to lose this tank.
Oh, look at that swift micro on those SCVs, but he kills the bunker immediately. TY trying to get up the ramp. The Ravager's falling. He gets on top of the depot. He can't close the wall.
That's right. If the units are on the depot, they cannot be lifted. His SCV's line backing here to try and keep that tank alive. His CC is taking damage. The Ravager file is going to damage it quite a bit here. TY a little bit late on the lift here on this natural. He does not want to lose that.
Did he wait too long to lift this off? This is a big deal if he ends up losing this command center. But of course, right now he has bigger things on his mind, like living. Sends some SCVs down, repairs the command center. Looks like it will live. 2 tanks already sieged up in strong positions, but the Ravagers are coming.
They are indeed, but the SCVs are trying to keep them away from the tank line. Nice micro from TY. The Bile's out of range here. 2 tanks doing tons of damage to the attacking army here of Rogue, but he's not done yet.
Rogue gonna continue to try to pelt those Biles up there. A 3rd tank comes out. The more tanks I see sieging up, the less likely it becomes that critical damage will occur here from Rogue.
The cool thing that Rogue's done, though, is he's spreading creep in front of TY, so it's going to be a while for TY to be able to take this natural back. He's going to probably have to take the CC over to the right-hand side of his main, which is very, very tough to defend against Lings or anything on the ground, really. Rogue is just transitioning now. He's expanding back at home and droning up.
Yep, he's even going to be mining here from what is normally the 3rd base of TY, but is instead the 1st expansion here for Rogue.
Rogue sees that a 3rd CC has been made here for TY. And TY can come back in this game, but he's going to have to retake that natural. A really cool tool here for TY, maybe getting a Raven, because that is so much creep from Rogue. You have to get rid of it in your natural, or even just try and push back. And of course, the Raven, with its new abilities and retweaked current abilities, is a very effective fighting tool.
Look at this play. Like, you see how quick Rogue is. It's no wonder that he is a world champion, but I love his setup here. He has multiple queens, so a single Banshee can't just fly out and ruin his day. And with all these Ravagers, biling that ramp will really slow down anything coming down from TY. So even though his rush maybe didn't necessarily work, there are definitely some upsides to the position he's in.
I'm pleased to see an intelligent Terran agree with me here that Raven is 7/8 of the way done. It's about to pop out. And when the Raven does pop out, the tanks can slowly leapfrog forward and get rid of these creep tumors. But there is still a Zerg force with transfusions waiting for him. It's a tough one to call at the moment. Rogue making a lot of units right now. 14 Lings are on the way, Artosis, and they're going to have speed as well.
Yeah, this actually could be very powerful indeed. Look at this, TY coming down. He's got to be so careful. If he loses half of his army, a big chunk coming down this ramp, that's where Rogue can just straight up win the game.
Oh, you're not wrong there. 2 tanks coming down the low ground. Might be time for them to siege up here against the wall. And the Ravagers could easily take them out if they're stacked against each other. And there is the reinforcements from Rogue. TY is trying to take his natural. The tanks are actually in a really nice spot here, but Lings don't really care about tanks if there's no Marines to keep them alive. Ravager Biles going down the tanks as well. Rogue's broken through the tank line here in the natural, and he's in the main again.
Going for the kill right now. 1 Seachank left over. He will kill it off. TY with nothing left over here as Lings flood in. His last Seachank gets picked up, and GG! Rogue takes the lead in the series 2-1.
And he looks very relieved by that as well. TY's defense is normally quite immaculate, but Rogue managed to break on through, and he finds himself with a map advantage on match point here. 1 more map for Rogue, and he will be the next semifinalist.
Wow, really fantastic series so far. I am having so much fun watching these games. And like, the thing is, I look at how these games have played out. I bet you TY wins the next one. No way that this can end 3-1, right?
That's right. Could possibly be the case, and I think it might be as well, Artosis. Let's go to the boys at the desk and see what they think about this series. Take it away, Kalaris.
Let's indeed. Great series so far here between TY and Rogue, and we are checking in at the battle station to find out if our gentleman here can find some nuggets of wisdom in this series so far. Pig, you're first. We're going to go into game number 1, I think.
Nuggets of wisdom indeed. Let's hop into game review, of course, the first game of the series there on Eastwatch. We saw Rogue expanding in this pattern down here, saying, you know what? I'm going to take the really safe bases. These ones are protected. We're going to take down these rocks. Isn't this a great idea? But this was just such a great push from TY, which I think really set the stage for the rest of the game. Breaking down the rocks so that units can't come through this area here. Instead, we saw, of course, Rogue having to flank all the way around the map. And we saw these Marines elevating into the main. This was just such a clever usage of the positioning on this map. We saw, of course, Slings coming in from behind. And if he was able to take out both siege tanks, I think it would have been okay for Rogue. But those Marines redrop. One tank stands strong. And TY continues to be annoying. You could see Rogue got a little bit thrown off by this. He floated a bit of money during it. We can probably hop out from there, but that kind of just continued to be annoying, got little bits of damage, kept on trading, and from there, it just set the stage for the rest of that game. I think my other highlight from that game, honestly, when we went first-person view on TY, and he was like defending the giant Lingbane counter. He was like harassing in 2 spots, reacting to the army movements. Incredible. I love the first-person view there because it really shows how much he's doing at once.
It was so fast and crisp. I need to see more first-person view of TY, please. That would be great. Thank you very much, Pig. We're going to head over to Rotterdam now, who has Game 3. What do you have for us?
Yeah, I think Game 2 was kind of cool, but he was just too far behind, and I really felt that Rogue was so far ahead economically. Game 3, however, is not a super spectacular moment, but it's just kind of one of those, let's analyze the numbers one more time. TY was actually in a pretty sweet position in this phase in the game. Of course, it really feels awkward when you're like cornered in your main base, and there is creep everywhere. And at one point, you know, like TY did scout, and he knows that, you know, Rogue is probably transitioning. Rogue is probably giving up on this, because TY is like, I've got tanks. He's got 3 CCs, worker count 32 against 32, while Rogue in his main base, he's still on hatchery tech. This is actually a pretty sweet position as a Terran player to be in. Of course, it takes a while before you really secure your natural. And TY is like, you know what, I know it's going to take a while. I've got 3 CCs. I think it's time. I've got tanks. He only has a couple of Ravagers. He is trying to contain me. He's just trying to, you know, transition out of this. I don't think he did enough, so I'm not going to waste any more time. I'm going to secure my low ground. But then if you look at the one number that actually does matter, it's the army supply. That's the only thing that Rogue has going for himself, and he's been hiding these units on the right side as well. Obviously units that TY was not aware of. So TY is just trying to clean up the creep. He's like, you know, I'm not going to let you contain me forever. I'm fine. I've got a Raven. I'm going to clean up the creep. And suddenly all the reinforcements show up, and TY realizes that he made a big mistake because he didn't have to move down yet. He was actually in a very, very playable position.
Scary stuff to go up against when Rogue is able to hide that kind of power behind it. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for those updates here as we're going to continue on with this series. TY or Rogue will be advancing to the round of 4, but who's it going to be? We're about to find out.
All right, welcome back. Maynard and Artosis here, nerdgasming over how good this series is and how great these players are. And we'll be continuing to do that for the rest of the series. My promise from me to you.
This series is crazy. I am just having such a good time right now. Everything today has been out of control. The whole week, it's been out of control. The greatest macro players from their race, the greatest late game players from their race. Who wins, Maynard?
It's too hard to call. I'm going to go ahead and say that TY is going to win Game 4 and we're going to get a Game 5, just to go by the tradition of this entire day's worth of matches. These best of 5s, a lot of them going the distance, only a couple of them not quite making it there. But everything else has been a very, very close match. Huge comebacks, apparent domination being deflected, going back-to-back maps. We've got it all here.
All right, game number 4, match point for Rogue. TY must be victorious.
And let's see if he is. In the bottom left here, from Splice, this is TY! And in the top right, one map away from moving on, this is Jitter Green Wings Rogue! Oh, God.
Black-pink is our map. Definitely a big map with lots of bases. A lot of Terrans like to go mech here, and TY is a mech god.
I think every TVZ I've seen TY, and of course Special, play on this map the spooky mech has come back out. The ghosts hit the field with a bunch of mech to keep them safe and to do the damage to the Zerg. So I feel like you're probably right. We may see that. But of course, when you think about Eastwatch and how well that went for TY, TY might be thinking, you know what? I'm going to try that one more time.
Maybe. I mean, his tournament life is on the line. Sure, he's already won a lot of money here. He's doing great.
Do you think he cares about money, Artosis? I think he cares about I think he cares about glory here.
Yeah. At this point, he just wants to collect some more first-place trophies. The amount of money he won last year, that is not an issue.
He's good for a while. But, yeah, I mean, TY is, of course, as you guys are aware in the crowd, we mentioned it, we'll mention it again, he is the current champion of the Intel Extreme Masters, and he would love to go back-to-back, and I would love to see it, to be honest. I would not complain.
Well, that would be an epic thing, probably never to be reproduced. I see this Overlord just kind of carefully scouting out anything coming in his natural. Rogue not wanting to die to some sort of quick rush, cheesy play. Wants to get into a longer game here.
And that's actually a really cool thing is that as we talk about how great late game these guys are, game 2, proxy from TY. Game 3, proxy from Rogue. They can, you know, it's so hard to predict what they're going to do because they can do so much.
Well, and even one of those games going into that big macro game as we were talking about before as well. I mean, it's a wild world that we live in. These guys have so much at their disposal. Reaper coming up right now. A very funny grenade right there. I think that may have been a misclick even.
It's a Maynard grenade. Do those
trying to rocket
20
jump
times
here.
a day.
Yeah. All right, well.
I think there's a proxy starport here from TY with a fast Liberator.
It definitely could be. It's either that or like a delayed scout that's going to be coming down, but yeah, it looks like it's going to be that starport you called, Maynard.
Yeah, and with the positioning of the starport, he doesn't have room for the add-on, so it's certainly going to be a Liberator here. It's not like he's making a ton of Hellions right now. The Hellions loading up into a medevac could be cool. He's done that before.
Yeah.
I'm feeling Liberator there.
Okay, we will see about that momentarily here as that starport is about halfway done. Either way, you can get a lot of drones with that, but Overlord's speed is going to finish. And this Overlord's going to come in here, figure out what's going on. Well, partially figure out what's going on, right? He's going to go in and say, okay,
right.
I mean, you have some stuff, but where's the other stuff? This isn't all your money.
No, certainly not. And TY is going to go for the elevator strat. He's even getting a concussive shell on the barracks here. And Rogue, I mean, 8 times out of 10, he's going to be thinking, all right, that's stim. Maybe even 9 times out of 10, because that is what Terran gets when they're going for this composition.
In fact, that might look a little bit like it could be a third command center, but he saw double gas in the main base, which always screams starport. So I think he might be able to get ready for this.
He's looking for it. The medevac boosts on through, and hello.
Ooh. Passing ships in the night right there. TY, we'll see if he can get some damage done still. The Zergling's already in position to stop these Hellions. He's dropping them out, trying to get that splash damage to work out.
Well, I mean, TY has lost 1 Hellion already, which stings a little bit for him. The medevac getting a little low as well for these Queen attacks. Nice defense so far from Rogue, only taking Ling damage, which he can easily replenish. TY continuing to produce starport units, loses the Reaper at the 3rd base. Sees multitasking all over the place, and Rogue defending very solidly all over the place as well.
Yeah, just a little bit sloppy right there with losing that Reaper, but that's okay. He's getting that armory, as you said. And with the 3rd command center, it looks like this will be a longer game, but does he add another armory, or is this just for some Hellbats?
It could be a couple options here. I'm feeling like Hellbats make a lot of sense. He's got a ton of Hellions here. They're going to be great against the Lings. And what else did he make back at home? He still has a Liberator out on the field as well. The 3rd just got saturated. There's 2 Queens here for Rogue to defend. But if there's a ton of Hellbats, I don't know if 2 Queens is going to be enough.
No, especially if a Liberator comes and joins you, and you have your medevac still. I mean, there's a lot to work with here.
So low. It's so low. Got to be careful now. I think the drop play might be done for TY for now, because the medevac dies. It's going to really, really suck for him if he has still a payload of Hellions in there. Once again, his Vikings finding damage. Shifts that starport, gets a tech lab on there. So, and he's start transitioning.
He starts a 4th command center. Okay, TY, we're going to be watching mech here, I would say. I mean, that is a really huge amount of command centers that you're making so early on. The 4 Hellbats surround a Queen and burn it down. And let's not forget, he added a tech lab. So he's not done with this starport quite yet.
making a Raven here. Could auto-turret harass and, of course, could easily float that Raven back home to be a crucial part of his army again. There's +1 going down here for TY. Now, I haven't seen that second armory just yet, Artosis, and he's still producing Marines. All right, there's that second armory. The Marines at the moment just look to be basically a bit of a buffer to make his army a little bit more safer against these Lings of Rogue.
Yeah, I like it. You may as well use it for now. His production at home isn't that high. He doesn't have that many buildings, considering he's spending all of his money on command centers and Hellions. So totally fine right there. He is going to be able to take his third base. He's floating it down right at this moment. Meanwhile, those Marines being loaded up in a medevac, trying to send some mixed messages here to Rogue.
I do believe he is trying to bamboozle Rogue here. Rogue is so intelligent, though, it's tough to trick him. The starport's going to float on home. Doesn't really need starport units too much right now. Definitely needs a ground army. There's extra couple factories going down for TY back at home. And yeah, Rogue's going to see Hellions. Not uncommon to see Hellions and also a Bio follow-up, so he might be thinking this is Bio here. He's making a bunch of Roaches now. Already a hive at 7 minutes on the way here for Rogue.
Oh, man. That is a pretty quick hive. I'll give that to you. With that Hydralisk Den on the way as well. Not able to find any damage here with the medevac, with this Marine draw. But he did see that the hive is coming, and that's actually quite an important scout.
Rogue going drone crazy here, pumping out tons of those drones to take a work lead here against TY. Getting the Hydralisk Den out and also the Hive done and the Spire. Those are all the tools that Rogue needed on Neon Violet Square to win versus the mech of TY. But TY in this game has not put himself behind with his proxy starport. In fact, the proxy starport hasn't really been punished at all.
No. In fact, he doesn't think it's there, I'm pretty sure. Right? Did he ever scout it again after it got that add-on? I'm not sure.
It floated home. So.
Well,
there's a lot of Roaches here. Tanks are sieged up, though, so Rogue doesn't want to take a bad trade.
okay, just kind of pushing around the map a little bit. I don't think TY is actually going to commit to any sort of real attack here. Oh, a Ling counterattack. Going to grab a few valuable units here.
Yeah, very nice pick off, actually. I mean, he's going to lose these Lings by the looks of things, but he did pick off a tank. He's even trying to go for a second one. Obviously, TY not going to lose that second one, but the third base is under attack from all these Roaches. TY sieges up, the Raven leading the charge. Could even anti-armor missile these Roaches if he feels like Rogue is going to commit, but as it stands, just resaturates the base, takes 3 SCV losses.
Okay, Vipers being created right now, a Spire being added, another base, creep spread everywhere. TY on 4 bases, 2 armories, making a ton of mech units, but adding his barracks. It is time for that Ghost mech.
It is indeed. It's going to get spooky. Well, Ghost are on the way. We have Blue Flame about to finish these Hellions, so they're going to become a lot more effective against light units and drones as well. And in fact, with Blue Flame finishing up, he is looking for a hatchery here, but there's none to be seen for Rogue. TY has a nice position here with the Raven and the tank, but he's just out of range of these Roaches, who are doing damage to this base here for TY.
Wow, he would really love to trade these Roaches for any sort of damage he can get. A few SCVs going down, gonna pick off a siege tank at this side, so that's not too bad. But I mean, you kill 7 SCVs, he's got 78 more. Not an issue for TY.
Now these Hellions are going to go down. How many drones can they get before they do? Blue Flame is such an important ability for these Hellions. Rogue not really pulling the drones at all. In fact, pulling the drones sometimes helps the Hellions. He loses 9 back at home. And now we are seeing TY enter full late game TY TVZ mode.
Oh.
He is on 85 workers.
Okay, well, he's on 85 workers, but what is this that Rogue's doing? He just maxed out on Roaches.
He certainly did.
Like, that is a lot of Roaches, a lot of Hydras, and a lot of mana on these 3 Vipers. It looks like Rogue is going to go for a massive attack here.
Yeah, he doesn't want late game. He's like, no, I don't want this. I want to actually kill you right now.
Okay, well, we're going to watch Rogue and see if he can pull it off. A lot of buildings in the way. He's trying to hit some multi-pronged harassment here. Nice little yank right there on the medevac. I'm not sure that matters too much. He picks it off, but with this type of defensive structure up, how are you actually supposed to break this with such a Roach-heavy army?
I mean, if you have like 50 or 60 more army supply, the Roaches can get the job done, but they very rarely trade efficiently here. And efficiency is what mech is all about. TY is actually, I feel like these upgrades need to be spinning for him though. The Zerg is about to get +3, or +3 is on the way for the Zerg. TY still on 1-1 with his mech units.
Yeah, it's actually a very good point you bring up here, but he does have these ghosts. Let's see what he can get done with them.
They can die, actually.
Yeah, losing actually quite a few, but that is a great anti-armor missile. Oh, but the Blinding Cloud on these siege tanks, preventing that additional damage.
Oh, man. Rogue's broken through. TY is actually in a lot of trouble. He's going to do a lot of damage here with his Hellbats potentially, but Rogue is doing critical damage for TY. He's to reset the Ghost Guard. The Ghosts are very low in number. Vikings are coming forward, but there's still Hydras alive on Tosis. They're killing the Vikings. TY doesn't have that many tanks left. He doesn't have much army left. Is Rogue going to kill him right now?
He might be able to. This attack, I don't think it's something that TY was expecting. Normally he sees Broodlords and the such in the late game, but 27 more roaches being created. Rogue is going to keep piling on this pressure.
TY is going to tap out here. He did the GG scans to see what he's up against. He doesn't have enough. Rogue, the world champion, eliminates the Intel Extreme Masters champion of 2017 in TY. Oh, man. And we're going to see Rogue going forward into the semifinals.
Well, that was some pretty darn good play out of Rogue, really hitting his stride with his macro. So many units coming out and just flooding over a TY that wasn't ready.
Oh man, what a beautiful TVC to start things off with. And we got another one to follow up next. But we're going to take a short break, and when we come back, an interview with Rogue and more Starcraft. We'll see you then.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Intel Extreme Masters Katowice. We just saw our third quarterfinal match of the day, and it was a match between last year's Katowice defending champion and last year's WCS Global Finals champion. And it's Rogue that comes out on top. So first of all, congratulations, Rogue. It was a pretty intense series, 3-1 in your favor. How does it feel to not only move on to the round of 4, but do so by taking down last year's Katowice champion?
일단 4강 진출 축하드리고요. 진출도 기분 좋을 텐데 작년에 우승자를 꺾고 진출하는 기분이 어떤지 얘기해 주세요.
일단 테란전이 되게 자신이 없어가지고 정말 마음 편하게 그냥 했는데 막상 이렇게 또 올라가게 되니까 너무 또 긴장이 또 많이 되고 8강이 제 목표였는데 그래도 이렇게 올라갔으니까 더 결승 우승까지 목표로 잡아도 될 것 같아요.
So he says, I was really not feeling so confident in my ZVT, so I just really tried to empty my mind and just play as comfortably as I could. And I'm so happy that I'm able to advance, but it's actually making me more nervous. Truthfully, when I came into this event, the round of 8 was my goal, but now that I am in the semifinal match, I want to change my goal to make it to the grand finals and hopefully have a shot at becoming the champion. And now, going up against TY, as you just said yourself, you weren't feeling so confident in your ZVT, so does that affect how you prepared for this match at all? 아까 전에는 테란전이 자신 없다라고 했는데 그러면 이제 전태양 선수와 만나는 걸 알고 준비 과정은 어땠나요?
일단은 아예 어제부터 그냥 테란전은 아예 생각도 안 하고 프로토스전만 생각했는데 그냥 즉흥으로 다 그 3세트 백워터 빼고는 다 즉흥으로 한 거거든요. 근데 백워터에서 제가 원래 진 건데 그거를 이겨가지고 좀 운 좋게 이긴 거 같아가지고 그걸 이긴 순간 뭔가 더 잘 됐던 것 같아요, 게임이.
So he says, when honestly yesterday I was only practicing against Protoss. I wasn't even thinking about practicing against the Terran at all. And so a lot of the games I didn't have anything specifically planned or anything. And honestly, when it comes to Backwater specifically, I really should have lost. And so when I won that game, I really felt like that was the key moment that led to me winning the entire series. And now moving forward, you're going to be playing either Maru or Solar. Both of them are actually SSL champions. So who do you think that is going to move on to face you, and who do you want to face?
이제 다음 만날 상대는 이제 강민수 선수 아니면 조성주 선수 중에 하나인데 누가 올라올 것 같고 누구랑 만나고 싶으세요?
그래도 테란전보다는 저그전이 되게 자신 있어가지고 민수가 올라왔으면 좋겠지만 그래도 성주를 응원하고 있어요, 저는.
So he says, as I mentioned earlier, I'm not feeling so confident in my Terran matchup right now, so I would rather face Solar and have that ZVZ, but that being said, I will be cheering for my teammate in Maru. So we'll see how that matchup goes. Congratulations again. We'll see you in the Spodek Arena tomorrow. Kalaris, let's head back to you.
Thank you, Smix. With that result, our champion is decrowned. TY will not be the back-to-back Intel Extreme Masters World Champion, and the WCS Global Champion marches on to the round of 4. Joining me at the battle station once again, we have Pig, we have Rotterdam. Roddy, I do believe that you have as a little bit of a preview, or a clip even, I should say, of the last game?
Yeah, pretty much. A couple of the final moments of the last game. Obviously, TY, phenomenal Terran player, had a great tournament run here again. Quarterfinals, not a bad try to defend his title from last year, but a couple things were just not 100% on point. We can go ahead and jump into the laptop real quick, and then we can just take a look at basically 1 minute before the ending. You can see that Rogue is already maxed out here, and at this point, Rogue is obviously getting ready to attack. He's sharking around, he's trying to look for openings. TY is supply blocked. 2 depots are about to finish up though, but it's only 2 depots. You see Rogue poking a little bit, he's running circles. This is all not crucial, but basically you see TY freeing up some supply, and after he loses a couple of units, he's supply blocked again, and this is actually a very big one, because in this phase in the game, having 1200 minerals in your bank means that he could have potentially had a bigger army when that final push came. Once again, Rogue being Rogue, Rogue is maxed out, he's clean. You need to be as clean as possible against these guys. So we're gonna on-pause, and you guys can see how long this actually takes. You look at the production tab, right? Still no depot, no depot, no depot, no depot, and then suddenly he's like, oh my god, I need depots, and I'm fast-forwarding now. So he's building 7 depots at once, but all this time, he's obviously supply blocked, and that's gonna make it very, very difficult to hold against the maxed out Rogue. TY's army could have been bigger, and then perhaps even more crucial than that, James, is this fight. Once again, I think that TY's army could have been a little bit bigger than it is, but look at these 6 goals. These 6 goals represent a lot of potential. If they can get in a safe spot and they get their snipes off, maybe land an EMP on the Vipers, I would say the dream is still alive for TY, but I'm gonna play it slowly. Just look at the goals. We're gonna zoom in. Goes here, goes here, goes here. 1, 2, 3. Just like that, he lost 3 goals here. Not a single snipe went off. And I think then it becomes borderline impossible to defend against somebody as good and strong as Rogue.
Well, thank you very much, Rotterdam. We can check in with the bracket as well to get everyone up to date now with our almost concluded round of 4. Serral Classic and Rogue have made it. Our next match being Maru and Solar. Pig, looking at Serral Classic and Rogue there, they've all certainly deserved their spot so far.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if that's what not being confident in your Zerg vs Terran matchup looks like, then I don't know what confidence does look like. I guess it means you literally never lose a map, even against the best players in the world. It's looking amazing so far. The best players definitely making it through. Maru vs Solar up next. I mean, we're going to see another awesome player make it to the top 4.
I think so. I think so. Okay, we're going to go to that break. When we come back, our final series of the day, Solar going up against Maru.